awake again after lunch. I knew Stuart would do the job for that, so that's good. Our next speaker is Roxanne Bickham with the American Cancer Society, and she will be speaking on cancer awareness and prevention. So you guys might recognize this face.
Figured it'd probably be better if I didn't introduce myself. Okay. So thank you again for coming. As she said, my name's Roxanne Bickham. I'm with the American Cancer Society. I've been involved with the society for 9 years. I've been staff for about 2.5. I was volunteer prior to that. So as staff, I am a community manager. So I help to manage the Relay for Life events that occur in this general area, the cities that I cover in case you are interested in getting involved in any of our events. Or trying to find additional networking support with other cancer survivors or families that have been affected by cancer. My cities are San Dimas, Glendora, Azusa, Baldwin Park, Claremont, Laverne, Claremont Colleges, Cal Poly Pomona, and Pomona. So if you're in any of those areas, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be glad to answer any questions for you. So the American Cancer Society was founded in 1913. That's right, 103 years ago. And we are an organization that provides free services for cancer patients and their caregivers or family. Inside of your goodie bag, there is a packet in there that has a list of those free services, and it's English on one side, Spanish on the other. I would encourage you to take that flyer and give it to someone that you know that's going through cancer, or if you don't know someone at this point, hold on to it because you will know someone. Because unfortunately, it's a 1 degree separation versus what they used to say, everybody's 6 degrees. With cancer, it's only 1. So I would encourage you to share that, because of one of the worst parts of my job is talking to someone and them saying, oh, I wish I'd known about these free services a year ago when I was going through cancer. So our grassroots movement is to educate people about cancer awareness and prevention and about the free services that we offer. So we are the #1 private funder for cancer research in the world. So the only organization that funds more research than we do is the US government. So we're very proud to say that, and we have vowed, we made a commitment this year that we will double what we're already #1 in. We will double in the next 5 years the amount of money that we put into research, because we know research is the key to finding less invasive treatments and better treatment options for people or earlier detections. So when we hit 2021, we estimate our funding will be at $700 million per year for research alone. So to me, I think that's pretty amazing, because we know that that's really going to make some differences. We know the money that we have previously funded is doing great work. We like to fund new and upcoming researchers. So 47 of our funded researchers have gone on to win the Nobel Prize for their cancer research. Some of those folks are ones that created or helped to invent the mammogram and the pap smear. So where would all of us in this room be if those exams weren't here today? We may not even be here, right? So we know our money is doing great work, and the way we raise that money is through our Relay for Life events. 80% of our funding comes from our grassroots efforts here in all of the communities to educate folks and to raise money so that way we can fund that research. So let's talk about how we can reduce our cancer risk. Most people are aware of the different types of screenings you can have. I just talked about mammogram, your pap smears. You can also get your colonoscopy if you're 50 years or older. You want to make sure that you're getting that done. And there's a CA-125 screening that you can do to check for ovarian cancer. So there's a variety of different screenings, and most people are aware of those. It's important to make sure that you talk to your doctor to get those scheduled if you haven't had them, and to discuss with them how regularly you should get those exams based off of your personal health history, your family history, and your age. They take all of that into consideration and weigh the benefits versus the risks on how often you should be doing those tests. Now, what are some of the key factors when we're talking about reducing your cancer risk? What's the first thing we think of? Smoking, right? Quit smoking. If you're a smoker, you want to try to quit. It's never too late to quit. If you quit, you know you're going to have significant health benefits. Two other things that we don't necessarily think about as quickly as we do the smoking is the connection between your diet and your physical activity. So your daily habits can really have a significant effect on your risk and whether or not you are at high risk for cancer. The good news is that's something that you can do something about, right? Because we all control those. So first, let's talk about controlling your weight. You want to get to and stay at a healthy weight to be able to reduce your cancer risk, as well as reduce the risk of other chronic diseases like diabetes or heart disease. If you're overweight or obese, you increase your risk of the following things. If you're postmenopause, you have a much higher risk of breast cancer. You'll have a higher incident rate of colon or rectum cancer, endometrial cancer, which is the lining of the uterus, esophagus, pancreas, and kidney cancer are things that you are much higher risk at if you're obese or overweight. A standard of measuring your whether or not you're overweight or obese is using your BMI, which is your body mass index. The standard number would be to try to have that percentage be under 25, so that's a percentage of weight versus height. So what you want to do is you want to talk to your doctor and ask your doctor what BMI should you be at based off of your history and everything, so that way you can be striving for the right thing. Because based off of your age or something, maybe 25 isn't going to be a healthy BMI for you. So you want to make sure you discuss that with your doctor, so that's a question to ask. In trying to control your weight, one of the things that we can do is do portion control. How many times do we go into a restaurant and they serve us a plate of food that could probably feed 3 people, right? Because that's what we're used to. So I know one thing that I try to do is I just ask for a to-go container up front, and then I portion half of it into the to-go container, and then I only eat what's left on the plate. And then I still feel like, oh, hey, I'm eating everything that's on my plate, but I didn't eat all that food. So that's a simple trick that you can do. Try to limit the amount of high-calorie foods, high-fat foods, and foods that have a lot of added sugar. You want to limit those quantities. One of the things that you can do is try journaling or writing down the things that you eat, because sometimes we're not aware of how much we're actually eating, right? So if you grab a cookie or a chip or something every time you walk by the kitchen, I'm horrible. When my daughter was in the house, she would buy these cookies, and every time I'd walk by, I'd eat one. I'm like, oh, it's just one. Well, at the end of the day, I ate 10, so then it's a problem. So journaling, you've done it, right? So journaling or writing down what you're eating can help you figure out where are areas that you can cut back on. Maybe you don't realize you're drinking 6 sodas a day. So write it down so that way you can figure out where can I cut back on these things. So some of the things that we can do to eat healthy is read your labels. I think someone kind of touched on that earlier. 2 significant things to look at when you're reading your labels is the portion size and the calories. So we look at it, oh, it's only 50 calories. Oh, but there's 4 servings in this one bottle. So it's really 200 calories that you're consuming when you thought it was only 50. So you want to make sure that you're looking at that. Eating smaller portions of the high calorie foods. Choose vegetables, whole fruits, legumes like peas and beans, versus the calorie-dense foods like French fries, potato chips, ice cream, candy, that kind of stuff that we know. That's common sense. We know that that stuff's not that great for us. Have it occasionally. You don't not have to have it. Just have it in moderation. When you're eating out, be mindful. Be careful of the portion sizes. And what's high in fat and high in sugar when you're eating out. Limit your processed meats, so your lunch meats, hot dogs, bacon, sausage, that kind of thing, because that's obviously high in fat. Choosing fish or poultry and beans over red meat. And then choosing baked, broiled, or poaching versus frying or charbroiled. So those would be better options for you. You want to eat 2.5 cups of fruit or vegetables each day. And this could be whole fruits, 100% fruit juice or vegetable juice, and have a variety of those. So you don't want to eat just apples every day. So you want to have a variety of things. I say when you're putting your plate together, try to have as many colors on there. The more colorful it is, the better you are with what you're eating. And then you want to limit all those side sauces and dipping sauces and stuff. If you're having a big plate of broccoli and carrots, but you dip it in like 5 teaspoons of ranch, probably not the best option for you. Kind of negates the positive part of eating the vegetables. You want to choose whole grains like barley, oats. You want to choose brown rice over white rice. And you want to choose those over your refined grains or refined carbohydrate foods like your pastries, sugar cereals, candies, and the white rice. So I know someone touched base on this earlier. We want to limit our alcohol consumption. Glass of wine every now and then is okay, but you really should, if for men, you should limit your drinks to 2 per day, and women only 1 per day. And a drink, I know, awful, huh? A drink would actually consist of a 12-ounce beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounce of hard liquor. And when it comes to the relationship to cancer, it doesn't matter what type of alcohol you drink, it's the amount of alcohol that you drink. So we want to make sure that you guys are doing that responsibly and doing it in lower portions or amounts, so that way it doesn't increase your risk. Unfortunately, as women, we're typically smaller than men and we metabolize the alcohol slower, so that's why our numbers are a little bit less than the guys. Now second, you want to be more active. We know that society today is a lot more sedentary. We talked about the tablets and sitting in front of the TV and doing all of these things. So that's why we're having all these breaks in between, so you can get up and move around and walk, because we don't want you sitting here for 6 hours. So we want to make sure that you're trying to move because it is in direct relation to your hormone levels, and it affects how your immune system works. And so if you increase your activity, you're also going to lower your risk for diabetes and heart disease, which will make you overall healthier. So the latest recommendations for exercise, I know someone touched base on it earlier, for adults is 150 minutes of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise per week, and preferably spread out throughout the week. So you don't want to do 75 minutes in one day and then call it a day. So you want to try to do it throughout the week. For kids, it is 60 minutes of moderate or vigorous exercise each day, with vigorous happening at least 3 times a week. Now, you may not know what the difference is between moderate and vigorous. So moderate is going to be activities that make you breathe hard, like a brisk walk, or, if you're doing household chores, vacuuming, you might get a little out of breath, doing some gardening work, things of that nature. Vigorous is going to be activities using large muscle groups, and that's going to make you breathe a lot faster, heavier, deeper. You're going to break a sweat. So I kind of think moderate is when I'm out walking with my neighbor and I can still carry on a conversation, but I have to stop and breathe for a minute and I'm okay. Vigorous is going to be when you're doing that same walk, but you can't carry on a conversation because you're concentrating on your breathing. So that's kind of how you can tell the difference of what would be a moderate versus vigorous. So now we want to look at how we can extend those behaviors into our communities, because if we have communities that perpetuate the same kind of behavior, it makes it easier for us to continue doing it, right? So we want to encourage you guys to take a look, or I'm sorry, I skipped here. Okay, so we want you to ask for your community partners to bring these healthy choices into your guys' places of work, into the schools. So some of the things that we can do is ask for healthier choices in your workplace. If they have a vending machine, let's ask them to have at least one healthy choice for every junk food that's in the vending machine. So that way you have some options. Let's ask for the local restaurants to have healthier choices, low-cal or low-fat items, if they have whole grains, if they do protein instead of with the bread, so that way you have those different types of options. Especially the local mom and pop places, they can easily implement those things that maybe not necessarily on a larger scale for a nationwide restaurant. So, and then whatever we can do to make our communities feel safer, local law enforcement and working with our council members to make sure that the community feels safe, so that way we can go out, we can walk the trails, we can walk the neighborhoods and things, so that way we can make sure that we're encouraging that, asking your neighbors or something to go out walking with you and doing it as a group and making sure that you're safe. So the bottom line is, you have to start with yourselves. And we need to take off a couple extra pounds. I know I need to do it myself. I've been working diligently at that. Make sure that you're moving, watch how much you guys eat, limit how much alcohol that you drink, and then try to make sure that we have safe communities and get out there and move. So I have a packet that I'll hand out. When the next speaker comes up, I'll quietly hand it out. I encourage you to take that home and take a look at it, because it's gonna have a whole bunch of questions on there, and really answer the stuff honestly and see how healthy of a lifestyle are you leading. And then if you answer no to one of them, then maybe that's an area that you might wanna work on to try to make your life a healthier life. So again, you're gonna start with you, and then that can encourage your friends or your family to go down that path as well. So that's all I got. So thank you so much. Michelle, you have my paper. I don't know who's next. I lost my little Bible.